Yo, what's good, everybody? You are back tuned into the underground. My name is Mbaya and I go by the doctor. Today, what I have for you is pretty much something that is very straightforward. I'm going to try to do minimum edit cuts. If I can, I'll just do this in one take. And I'm saying this because I want to add to what I was talking about in my last video, which was about the boosted shaver. If you didn't see that, go and check that out. I did a review video, then I did a testing video, and it's very much so worth it. I'm going to talk about this in a whole other video, which I'm going to do a haircut, which is going to include the boosted shaver. I'm going to have the boosted trimmer as well as the boost clipper. So not only am I going to have the boosted clipper trimmer and the shaver, I'm going to also include the Uno 2.0 specifically, because I want to show you why it is necessary to have different tools in your arsenal. So even though I'm going to be using the boosted clipper and trimmer and shaver for a third time, I'm saying that, I just want to showcase that these tools are equipped, ready to go. I did do some modifications on this booster specifically. I put an ES5 blade set on this, as well as on my clipper. I did swap the blade. Everything that I did do to these, I'm going to put in the video description for that haircut tutorial video. But anyway, put these away. It's not about these. I'm going to talk about them, but it's really not about these. And put this back on the charger because I'm going to need that in a moment. But yeah, so this video is just a general conversation about tools and why you need multiple different tools. You need to make sure that you're expanding your collection. You can't just have a bunch of tools and not use them. A lot of people, specifically barbers, tend to pick up a bunch of things just for show and have them on their station just to say they got the new hot tool. Okay, yeah, cool story, that's dope and all that, but I'm going to talk about the Rebel trimmer specifically in this video, especially the simple fact that this thing is pretty much a, how could I say this? This is a upgraded hitter. You know what I'm saying? For those of you who know, you know. But the dimensions and the ergonomics of this are very similar, but you know, they're different. This one's stronger, this one's a little less stronger, but hands down, Gamma Plus and Stylecraft's best trimmer. This is controversial. It is the hitter for me. Now, before I move on any further, here's the reason why I claim that the hitter is my favorite, because you can literally take any one of these things. This is actually the Stylecraft hitter, and you can put any blade on here. This is not the original blade. This is a TY blade. And on this one, this is my PROTEGE from Stylecraft. Of course, I have the diamond cut blade on here. The PROTEGE from Gamma Plus, I have the, of course, ES5. Then, of course, on this hitter, this is the Gamma Plus hitter, I have the X Pro Classic. All of these are equipped with the one cutter, of course. This is the Classic, and this is, of course, the stock blade, and I did change the cutter to the one cutter. That's not the original cutter. This, of course, has just the, I believe what we can call the standard X Pro blade, and that is not the one cutter. I don't know what kind of cutter we can call this. I believe it's just a black diamond cutter, but it definitely is a hitter. And this is actually a PROTEGE in disguise of a hitter. I just changed the lid on this thing. But yeah, if you don't know, now you know. This is the reason why the hitter is one of my favorites. And if I didn't say it enough, I'm probably gonna have to double back again just to prove this to y'all. That, let's see, okay. These things are literally the same. I've made a full video on this before, but just, you know, for the context, y'all. Sorry for moving y'all around this much, but these are the same thing. You have this in Gamma Plus, it's available, and you also have it available in the Stylecraft version. This is the Gamma Plus PROTEGE, which is the same thing. you know, but this is my favorite trimmer on the market. And you have all the functions that this thing has. It just lacks a charging dock or stand. It's not gonna come with one of those, but you can zero gap the blade. It's actually great. They're very similar. This is a stainless steel blade that comes on that, and this is like a black DLC. I'm not sure if that's a black diamond, I forget. Is it a black diamond? Yep, black diamond blade, yep, for sure, yep. So, you know, you can't go wrong, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, all the zero gap, you know, features are available. So get the hitter if you're on a budget, or if you're even on a more budget, on a beginner level, PROTEGE. And every trimmer, with whether it's Gamma Plus or Stylecraft, they literally allow you to change the blades any way you go. You can't lose. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring this out to, I'm not gonna really talk about it. I might, maybe not, we'll see. But I do need to open this up, and I'm gonna put a ES5, no, I'm sorry, ES4 blade on this, because I did pull it off of this and I replaced it back with the, I might as well talk about this now. This hitter is something that I did switch the lid on, as well as the fixed blade. I put this back on here and changed the cutter from the original one that was on here. I put the one cutter on this. This thing's hitting like crazy. But I did have the ES5 blade, I'm sorry, ES4 blade on this trimmer, which I'm going to put back on there. So just so y'all know the difference between ES4 and ES5, this is the ES4 blade. I'm gonna swap everything out, and this is the ES5. So ES5, ES4. So I'm gonna put this on my PROTEGE, this new one right here. I'm gonna go ahead and get into that right now, because the cutter that comes on this is not bad. It's just, I believe that the ES5 of course goes great with the PROTEGE, but the ES4 specifically goes amazing with the PROTEGE. I did try it out a little bit ago off camera just to see how it will work. Then I, of course, on this one, then I put it, then I put the ES5 back on here, and of course this ES4 was on this one. Not to complicate things, hope y'all keeping track and following close with me. Like I said, I'm going to try to do this in one take. So this is the PROTEGE trimmer. The PROTEGE trimmer, just to talk about this specifically, this is one of my favorites from Gamma, as well as, of course, Stylecraft has their own version of this, but I'm going to go ahead and swap the blade on this, because this one's dope and all, but we can do with a whole different one on here, which is going to be the ES4. I'm going to pop that off. I know some people definitely love this PROTEGE. For those of you who don't know, the PROTEGE is pretty much a affordable version of the hitter. You can get this for a retail of some $60 to $70. I'll make sure to put that in the video. I'll pop it up somewhere just to make sure that you can see how much that costs, because I forget exactly how much this thing is. But I did just get a new one in to make sure that I have more than enough PROTEGEs and hitters, you know, available just for me to be able to do my job, do my work. A lot of people think having a lot of tools is irrelevant, but it is very relevant, because all tools, all trimmers, all blades, all clippers, you know, do a different job. Especially when it comes to shavers, for example, which I want to talk about that more in the video that I'm going to be using the boosted trimmer, clipper, as well as shaver, just to make sure that you understand what I'm saying. You know, there's some shavers that have forged cutters available to use on them. There's some, you know, shavers that have, you know, crunchy cutters when it comes to, you know, Gamma Plus and Stylecraft. And if you know, you know. But anyway, they do different jobs, obviously, and a lot of people don't know this, and that's what I want to talk about in the video that I'm going to use those, boosted tools. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be worth the watch. But I have this ES4 on here. As you can hear, this thing sounds amazing. It's not loud. It's perfect. This thing was meant for this protege, in my opinion, and many other people that do know. But it is recommended that you modify a lot of your tools. Some people just leave them stock, but this thing sounds amazing. It's not loud, nothing like that. It's ready to go. Can't wait to use this thing on my next client. So I'm gonna put that away. So Protege ES4, and I have my other one that's equipped with the ES5 blade. Now the ES5 blade compared to the ES4 blade, there's a softer touch with the ES4, but the ES5, this thing's a monster. It's a beast. You got to be very careful with this thing. It is definitely the sharpest tool or blade set that I have tried out in years. And right now, 2024, this thing's running the show, in my opinion. Light taps, you don't have to zero gap it. I don't have a true zero gap on mine. This is set at, I believe, zero point 0.3, which is standard. I may have used a setter on this. And yeah, but this thing's definitely smacking. I'm gonna put that over there. And yeah, up next is my Rebel. I'm gonna go ahead and switch out the cutter on this. I'm about to show y'all a clip in a second that's going to show you something about the Rebel that many of you do not know, but I did mention this the first time I unboxed this trimmer. I don't know how long it's been since I unboxed this, but I will link the video in the description below. And pretty much what I'm trying to say is this right here, I attempted to zero gap recently, and that's something that I'm completely against. Okay, I tried to zero gap it, and it started cutting people open. But check this video out so I can show y'all what I'm talking about.
If you haven't heard me say this before, zero gapping is a no-go. I'm a huge advocate for avoiding zero gapping by any means. Look how terrible that looks. And that's just based on a light tap. I'm very light-handed, by the way, but for this to open them up that quick and for this other side to be just fine is crazy. Now, when I use my left hand, I'm going in a little bit lighter a majority of the time. That's what I used on the left corner. For the right side, I use my right hand, which is my more dominant hand. So I was a little too aggressive with my right hand. With him right here, I don't know if you can make it out. It's on the top part on the straightaway vertical bar area. I did cut him up just a little bit. It's not too aggressive because I was trying to kind of be, a little sensitive with the pressure that I was applying. I'm going to zoom in on that, but there's a slight little cut at the top there, and on the corner on the vertical bar, a little bit of redness going on. Now, he does welt pretty easy, but just imagine with this sharp cutter on here, his skin didn't really stand a chance. And this is very dangerous when it comes to skin that's a little bit more darker, that has more melanin in it. These scratches take a really long time to heal up and eventually, of course, disappear. Compared to the guy that was in the last video, my homie Chasing Summer, he has a lighter, skin, which will recover easier because that's just how that works. And those are light taps. They're not going to scar up and stay or anything like that. It's just light taps, which I still happen to, of course, get too close with. I mean, that slim cutter is no joke, y'all. If you have it on your trimmer, please adjust properly and be responsible. Do not try to zero gap everything, especially for the up and coming people. If you are lacking the skill and watching your pressure, for example, I had to completely switch up the trimmer that I was using to my hitter that I just recently modified. Of course, it has the clear lid on it, and it has the one cutter, of course, with the fixed blade. That's the stock blade. I had to do an eyebrow slit on him. This is the first time he wanted to get one he's finally, I guess graduated as far as like the cool kids nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't have the slit and you're in high school, you kind of are, borderline almost a dork or something like that. I don't know what they're really doing nowadays, but this is nothing new. The slit is actually a cool look. I have done it before just to see how that looked on me. It was ridiculous. I'm gonna probably never do that again, and if I do, it's probably me having a midlife crisis. But just kidding. The slit's cool. I might do it. You never know. My wife can't stand it. That's why I'm talking mess. She just looked at me really crazy when I rocked the slit. I don't think she was really vibing with that. I even had the nerve to do the double joint. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Anyway, my guy's too cool for me now. At this point, eventually he's gonna be asking for the double, of course. And it's so crazy when these kids reach at that age of like between 12 and 15, they just no longer talk to you anymore. Then out of nowhere, at like 17, they're just talking again.
Yeah, so back to it. Look, you got to be very careful with what you're doing with your tools. So this cutter that came on the Rebel, I forget the name of this thing already. I believe it's a slim cutter. It's got to be a slim cutter. I'm trying to find a box to this, but I may have took that home or threw it away. I'm not sure, but I'm gonna lose this slim cutter, and this slim cutter came with the ES5 blade set. So in the ES5 blade set, this was equipped with a modified TY blade, of course. Then it was also packaged with two cutters. You had the slim and you had the deep tooth. So the slim was also equipped on the Rebel from Stylecraft. That is something that I talked about, saying that you should never, ever, ever zero gap, because that thing's super sharp. And I tried to do that recently because I was super hype about the new Rebel trimmer that's out. Of course, has a different cutter on it, and it happens to have the one cutter. This is something that I've always wanted to do. I never did it, but it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this because literally this cutter is great as is. I'm not disappointed in it. It's just you should not zero gap it, and that's exactly what I did. And this thing cut a lot of people open, like I showed you in the last few clips. But anyway, I'm gonna change this cutter to the one cutter on here. The one cutter is just an extra part that I had hanging around, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing on here and switch up the flow. Put some grease on this thing. Yeah, I'm gonna switch up the flow just because I'd rather have a comfortable cut for all my clients. I don't ever want to have any of my clients going through it, because cutting people open is not part of the plan. It's not part of their appointment service. You know what I'm saying? The service should always be comfortable. It should never be discomfort ever. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of barbers like to zero gap nowadays. I don't know what the infatuation with that is, but you should not be zero gapping. You need to just kind of stick to the factory setting or adjust accordingly. Zero gapping is very dangerous, and that's exactly what I did. I definitely regretted it because I was cutting my people open. Never will ever use something that's sharp on them again. And I don't like certain tools that are too sharp. Like the ES5 is sharp, but it's not. The ES5 is a fixed blade, but the cutter, you know what I'm saying, is the one that you should use. And when it comes to, wow, that is slicing. Ugh, God. I'm even forgetting what I was talking about, but getting back to it, look, the one cutter is perfect. It's the best cutter from Gamma Plus and Stylecraft. If you don't know about it, you need to get familiar. But that slim cutter, I don't despise it. I just don't recommend you zero gapping it. Just keep it at a comfortable, adjusted setting. And I know they changed the cutter on the new Rebel that's red for a reason, and that's where coming in to conclusion with this whole video is don't buy tools just because they're brand new. Buy tools because you know they're going to work and they're efficient. So when I first got these, I didn't know how well they would perform because they were doing just amazing to me. You know what I'm saying? In general, just period. You know, balding out, you know, for tapers, ball fades, all that good stuff lining up. They were amazing. Not until I recently zero gapped them off of the hype of knowing that there was a new tool and they had changed the cutter. Then they did do it's a combo set that comes with the Rebel. They have both the Rebel available in red, and they have the Rebel, the clipper, of course, and the trimmer available in red. But then there's also another combo which has the Flex trimmer, and they have the Rebel clipper. But all I'm talking about right now is the Rebel set. You know what I'm saying? That combo is amazing. They've pretty much upgraded everything and set it up to how it should be. It's cutting efficient from everything that I've seen, everything that I've read up on it is doing what it needs to do. And pretty much what I did to this is pretty much made these identical for those of you who are wondering. So the blade set that comes on the Cyborg and the blade set that comes on the, of course, Rebel, the only difference is the cutters. So the cutter on the Rebel was a slim, but I changed it to the one cutter. It's just an extra part that I had hanging around. It's always about the cutter sometimes at the end of the day. The fixed blade is definitely a must depending on how deep the teeth are. You know what I'm saying? That matters a lot. When you change those up, it makes a huge difference. So that's exactly what they did with the new one is they modified or swapped the old slim cutter for the, you know, the one cutter. I'm sure people probably like complained or something like that. Who knows? But these are pretty much identical. This is just the Gamma Plus version. This is the Stylecraft version. Is there a difference? I can't really say until I use this, but I do know that this is going to perform completely different moving forward. Now, I'm not saying that this is a bad trimmer. If you want to purchase it, go for it. But I do highly recommend that you purchase that new one. Now for the ultimate moment of truth. Our arm test. They feel good. They're not scratching up or anything. See that? They feel good. The corners are both balanced. You see how close that is? That's with no setting. The thing's ready. We're in the game. Let's see how this thing performs. But I just wanted to put this out there for y'all real quick and let y'all know that it's not that deep to purchase everything that comes out. You need to pick and choose your tools wisely. And when it comes to Gamma Plus and Stylecraft, you can literally swap blades. They're interchangeable on clippers and the trimmers. It's just the motors that makes the difference on how the cut is going to perform. But I had took off the cutter that was on my boosted. That's the one cutter. And I just took that and put it on my Stylecraft Rebel. You see what I'm saying? And this is the fixed blade that originally came on the boosted. So that's what's going on right now, just for y'all to know what's up. You know, I had the cutter from this originally, and that's the fixed blade that was on here originally until I swapped it over to the ES5. But yeah, that's that. Let's see how this thing rocks as far as the Rebel. But you can play around with these tools, y'all. Don't play yourself. Do not complicate things. Make sure that you're keeping life easy, and that's what Stylecraft and Gamma Plus has done, is they've made life easy for you. They're not going to complicate it. Actually, I need to put these away. They're not going to complicate it for you by making things super extra. They're going to make life easy, and that is what I appreciate the most out of these two companies. Stylecraft and Gamma Plus are winning right now, in my opinion. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you better act like you know. Because, look, nowadays, it's all about the tools. It's all about what your tools can do. If you don't have the proper starting lineup, you're screwed. You know, good luck. It's going to be a tough journey. You're going to set yourself up for fail. I'm just saying. Like, literally. Get it together, y'all. Don't go out there breaking the bank just for whatever is new and hot. Make sure you're selecting the proper tools when you're purchasing these things, because you're going to be in bad shape out here if you keep on just buying everything new. Know what you're using. Make sure you're buying and purchasing your tools according to your cutting style, not just random stuff that looks good on your station and you think it's gonna bring people in as a new clients or something like that. Don't play yourself. Don't injure your bank account over a new pair of clippers or trimmers. Seriously, purchase the right tools, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Client should be here shortly, so I'm gonna put these all out. This is what I'm going to use. Okay, now that we're on the same page, I just had to have y'all hear that ASMR crunch of what this blade set can do. With this combination of the stainless steel X Pro and the one cutter, out with the 2.0 shallow joint. Look, that slim cutter was not it, especially after zero gapping. So I'm really happy with this. The results are crazy. I know y'all see this thing slicing. This might as well be a Rebel in disguise of a cyborg, if you know what I'm saying, just because this is pretty much the same blade on the cyborg that I have created. And it's funny, somebody that comes through at the shop, supplies me with all kinds of stuff, he literally was just talking about how there's no more stainless steel blades. That set that comes on the cyborg is not available to purchase right now. I told him, man, you better keep looking high and low, but he's claiming that a lot of people right now, as in barbers, are requesting this combination right here because it's really doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's killing it. The cyborg is the best trimmer, hands down, that I have ever used in a very long time. That's until I tried out the Rebel, which I've fallen in love with, especially with that combination that I have with the, of course, ES5 blade set is crushing it. But as you can see, this Rebel has transformed into something different that is not the OG Rebel. Especially for those of you who are shopping right now and are interested in purchasing maybe that new combo that just dropped, I recommend you go for it. It is, of course, equipped with a black diamond, as in the X Pro is actually black, not a stainless steel like this one on the original Rebel. So if there's going to be a difference, it might be a softer cut, that kind of thing. I know some people think all these blades actually perform the same, but they don't. And as you can see, after I got done with the goatee, I did go through with the shavers. I used the 2.0 first. Next, I followed up with the boosted shaver just to kind of cover more of the surface of the skin below that jawline, which was very straightforward. But I did realize a little bit at that chin area might have gotten some little welting going on. I think or believe that's from the middle integrated micro trimmer, of course, may be something that he is sensitive to, and I will keep that in mind. Also, have mentioned this in my last video when I was reviewing or testing out the boosted shaver. Be mindful of that trimmer in the middle because it can be kind of aggressive and you may create guidelines that are not needed. So in this case, I think it might have been a little too much for him below that jawline. That's not from the trimmer blade set. Not bad. It's not some bullshit. How did they feel though? Did they feel rough at all, man? Huh? Bad. So I wouldn't want to be using anything on anybody that's gonna be killing them, literally. That's crazy. But yeah, that's that, y'all. And I hope y'all found this video helpful in any way, insightful, all that good stuff. But
I wish I would have showed y'all how I went about this taper, but I took this as an opportunity to use as a lesson to show you how well this blade set performed. With, of course, no irritation or welting of the skin.
Yeah. I will catch y'all on the next one. Y'all be cool. Subscribe to this channel. Follow me on my different platforms. All that good stuff. Ask me questions in the comment section if you have any.